This is an update to a story we brought you when we first started Indisputable. A cop decides to take his pistol, engage in physical assault against an individual while he is crying. But there's an update to the story. Here's the reminder.
Whoa,
Get out.
Whoa, what did I do?
Stay down.
Whoa, what the hell did I do, dude?
Roll over on your face. Roll over on your stomach.
What did I do?
Over on your stomach.
What did I do, man?
Over on your stomach now.
Okay, bro. Okay.
Roll over on your stomach.
Okay, bro, don't shoot me, man.
Get on your stomach.
What did I do?
Roll onto your stomach.
Am I gonna go?
Yes.
Onto your stomach.
I didn't do anything. What the hell?
Put your hands out in front of you.
Okay.
Put your hands out in front of you.
Dude? I
Hands
have
all the
a
way out.
I can't breathe, dude.
Hands all the way out in front of you.
Okay. I don't have a warrant, bro.
Stop
I don't
fighting.
have a warrant.
Stop fighting.
Help! I don't have a warrant, bro. Bro, I don't have no warrant, bro.
Get on your face.
Bro, I don't.
Get on your face.
I don't have a warrant, dude.
Get on your face.
Oh,
Get on your face.
okay, bro.
On your
You're
face.
killing me, bro.
On your
You're
face.
killing me.
Get on your face.
You're killing
Roll over on your face.
You're killing me.
Over.
You're
Get
killing
on your
me.
face.
You're killing me. You're killing me.
Get on your face.
I don't have a
Now.
warrant, bro.
Put up the picture full mass. This update is going to make your blood boil. John Haubert, a former Aurora, Colorado cop, in 2021 was caught on body cam footage, choking, pistol whipping, and threatening to eliminate, to unalive a black male. He was charged, as he should have been, with crimes, but acquitted of the charges he faced in connection to the incident. The officer was found not guilty of attempted first-degree assault, second-degree assault, and felony menacing, as well as 2 misdemeanor charges, official oppression and official misconduct. The charges stemmed from the violent arrest of Mr. Kyle Vinson. This took place July 2021. The jury delivered the verdict last Thursday following a 9-day trial. That day, the officer and his then partner, Francine Martinez, responded to a trespassing complaint in a shopping center. They encountered 3 men in the parking lot, all of whom reportedly had warrants for their arrest. 2 of the men fled the scene after Martinez tried to detain one of them. Vinson was the only one who stayed. Body cam footage shows Vinson following police orders to get on his stomach and put his hands out. Vinson is heard saying that he had not done anything wrong and there was no warrant for his arrest. Police reported he did have a warrant for a probation violation. The officer then struck Vincent in the head about a dozen times with the butt of his pistol before telling Vincent to roll over on his back. They don't teach you that at the academy, by the way. While Vincent is crying out, the officer is heard telling him, quote, "If you move, I will shoot you," end quote, before wrapping his hand around Vincent's neck for 39 seconds, choking him. There's more. Vincent begged the officer to not shoot him. When backup arrived, another officer used a taser on Vincent. He was handcuffed and taken into custody, but first the hospital. The head wounds he suffered required 6 stitches, according to the arrest affidavit. Officer Haubert told other officers at the scene, quote, "All that blood on him is from me pistol whipping him. I was wailing the F out of him," end quote. 4 days later, Officer Haubert was arrested. He quit the police department shortly after his arrest. So far, what do you see? You see a congruent narrative. You see a congruent narrative from the police, from the prosecutor, from the grand jury, there's a congruent narrative. The narrative is what? This officer acted in a way that was unbecoming, acted in a way that was criminal. Everyone agreed justice, relatively speaking, as it relates to a cop, was quick. This happened days after he did this, he was arrested. With millions watching and many people benefiting from this program called Indisputable, we just need 1% of the viewers to become a paid member so we can continue to bring this content to you. Now back to the show. There's more. Put them up. So you have Miss Vanessa Wilson, the then police chief, vowed to try to restore trust, calling the handling of Vinson's arrest a, quote, very despicable act. Keep up that chief for a minute, because the chief did not do the typical game we see chiefs do when they basically become the defense attorney for the accused who happens to wear blue. That is not what this chief did. This chief also did not play the we must all remain neutral until the conclusion of the investigation, because they never do that with anyone else. They say, well, we believe this person did A, B, and C, so we arrested them. This chief said the act was despicable. Last month, it was reported Wilson is suing the city of Aurora, saying she was fired in 2022 because she was a community advocate for minority groups. Her lawsuit includes claims that her other elected leaders and police officers pressured the city to fire her. Isn't that something? You know, what's indicative of her advocacy more so than anything else is the fact that she was fired for being an advocate. I mean, that's a true sign of significant truth. When those who would rather oppress the truth will come after you in a significant manner in order to silence you or get you placed somewhere else. I want to highlight that there are good chiefs in the world, and I believe that she's one of them. There's more. Officer Haubert, his defense, argued in court that the pistol whipping and everything else was completely necessary to subdue Vinson. And the officer had every right to use his gun as a baton after claiming Vinson tried to grab his firearm. The defense showed a still photo from the bodycam footage that showed 3 of Vinson's fingers touching Haubert's gun. But Vinson testified that he was never trying to grab it. Prosecutors also denied those claims. So the prosecutor is in agreement with the alleged criminal who had the warrant. The defense attorney providing a smooth entry by way of a still shot to the jury says, hey, you see these 3 fingers? Look at those 3 fingers. Now, the officer believed that Vinson was attempting to grab his firearm. What really happened was this. The officer was beating, pistol whipping a human being. The human being had a very natural response of what? Self-care, self-defense. He puts his hands up. And there's one still shot that shows 3 fingers perhaps touching the weapon as the combat ensues. That's it. There's more. So the defense attorney, Kristen Frost, argued Haubert had to act quickly to ensure Vinson did not get away after the 2 other men fled. This is a lot of work for a trespass call. He was also unsure if they were armed. You're unsure if anybody's armed, actually. People in the courtroom could be armed, technically. You don't know. That's still not a reason to be a criminal against them. She also claimed that Officer Haubert did not choke Vinson, saying that his hand was on his neck. But see, he never wrapped his fingers around it. Wait a minute. You want us to have nuance for the officer choking but not choking, but provide no nuance for the 3 fingers touching, perhaps touching the gun, and him not defending himself from being beaten by the gun. It just works one way. Now, never wrapped his fingers around the neck is what she said. Frost told the Denver Gazette that her team, quote, has always known that John Haubert was innocent. She stated the jury made the verdict based on what we always knew and is thrilled that the officer and his family can now move on. So Vinson said that he initially was not going to testify in court. He told the court he did the best to comply with police officers, noting the deaths of George Floyd and Elijah McClain. Quote, I don't like reliving it a lot. Usually, I feel like people who are in this situation with police brutality are dead. Vinson testified, quote, if someone was even not compliant just a little bit, they could have lost their life. He's serving a prison sentence in connection to a separate case. Here's the DA, John Kellner, said his office was disappointed in the verdict, but that he and his team respect the jury's decision. At this point, what can you do? They did actually launch a real prosecution attempting to bring justice. While Officer Haubert was cleared of wrongdoing, his former partner, Francine Martinez, you got to catch this, was sentenced to 6 months because she was actually found guilty. Now, what was she found guilty of? For failing to intervene. You got to keep this picture up. There's an irony here, is it not? She goes to jail. She gets charged. She gets a 6-month sentence because she failed to intervene what the jury has now claimed to be completely legal activity. There's more. The officer's acquittal comes just months after another former Aurora cop and 2 paramedics were convicted for their roles in Elijah McClain's 2019 death. McClain was put in a neck hold by police, and after being rendered unconscious, medics injected ketamine into his bloodstream, killing him. He went into cardiac arrest and died days later. Once again, I submit evidence to you that this is part of the reason why some people don't like the police. It's not because the police make mistakes. It's not because police departments have corrupt individuals adversarial to the concept of law. It is because they get away with it. It is because they are not held accountable. It is because somebody can literally be seen committing a crime against an individual, be found not guilty, but the person who witnessed it be found guilty for not intervening. Wosny, this is the world we live in, dear brother. You cannot tell me we do not exist in the twilight zone. What say you?
The lack of accountability is just so striking, right? Because people will often say, well, that guy was resisting. And I would say, okay, well, that guy made a mistake in his understanding of what this, police contact, ultimately what the outcome was supposed to be. But that doesn't mean he should get pistol whipped. That doesn't mean he should die, depending on the encounter. However, when police officers make quote unquote mistakes, there's no accountability, right? Like when victims of police violence, when police sort of interpret what they're doing as non-compliant, AKA not following the rules, those people are liable to die for that non-compliance. But when the police don't comply with their own rules, as you mentioned at the top, Dr. Richey, pistol whipping is not in the police handbook. This guy did not comport himself in the manner that the police say. Their rules dictate that he should behave, and yet still there's no accountability. There is no punishment for those behaviors. And again, the reason why a lot of this stuff becomes a self-perpetuating sort of event is that when the public sees that the police have no accountability, now when they have contact with the police, they're in fear. And that just makes everything sort of snowball, where people are in fear of the police and more mistakes are being made, and it becomes a more dangerous atmosphere. And I think that's the major problem, man, is that the trust that gets eroded in this way, where it makes for, if you're a citizen in Aurora, who, let's just face it, you might not be one of the more weller off, affluent citizens. When you encounter police, you have no reason to believe that you're gonna be safe. Yeah. And I think those outcomes are ultimately awful for everybody involved.
That's right. Not just the victim. It is obviously horrific for the victim, but there's this ecosystem that permeates and it ends up with a negative result for all. All right, we'll bring you updates because I do believe the officer is now going to sue the Aurora Police Department for wrongful termination or exiting under circumstances in which he was found innocent of.